Hello. So I did Grandpa Is Everything Black Bad for my book talk, and this book was written by Sandy Holman, and she has also written We All Have a Heritage and Grandma Says Our Hair Has Flair. Now, what this book is about, it's about a young boy named Matsu, Monstho, and he's a young black boy, and he's beginning to realize that everything in the world, in his eyes, everything that's bad just happens to also be black. So he goes through a list of things that when someone dies, people wear black and they're all sad. Witches are really scary and they're ugly and they're always in black. When you see a black cat, you're supposed to hide from it and it just so happens to be black. So he goes through a couple different of these things and he begins to realize that he's black. All these things that are bad in his eyes are also black. So he begins to think, okay, maybe I'm bad because I'm also black. So he approaches his grandpa with this idea, and his grandpa begins to go into reasons why he's not actually bad and that he should be proud of who he is, and he begins to explain what his heritage is and why he should value who he is because of the people that have came before him and what he'll do in his life. So one of the passages that I chose was, it's a little long. So it says, it's going to start with his grandpa speaking to him, and he says, "Now you wait just a minute, little man. You ain't bad and neither is the color black. You just get that kind of thinking out of your head. It's folks who decide what colors mean to them. Why I love the color black, and I think it's one of the most beautiful colors in the world," Grandpa said firmly. "You do, Grandpa?" Machu said, surprised. "Yep, I do, little man. Almost as much as I love your grandma's gumbo soup. You see, Machu, it ain't the color of someone's skin that makes them good or bad. It's what's inside their hearts that counts. The more love you give from your heart, the better you are as a person, no matter what people say or do. You understand?" Matsu nodded. "You also have something else inside of you that is very important." "I do?" Matsu asked curiously. "Yep, you do, little man. You have a heritage, a very, very proud heritage." "Heritage?" Matsu wondered, wrinkling his face. What's heritage mean, Grandpa?" So this is the first page that I read. That's the picture for it, and then this is the second page. I chose this section mostly because of the second page when it says, let's see, "It ain't the color of someone's skin that makes them good or bad, it's what's inside their heart that counts." And I said that I think it's something that could be easily applied to people today because people's race and everything, people's race and how people are viewed by other people is a big controversial topic today, and I think it's important that teachers and students and everyone in the population in general understands that it's not what they see on the outside that's important, but it's what's inside their heart and like how that portrays outside in their everyday life. So that's one reason I chose that. And then the second passage I chose is once Grandpa explains to Machu like what heritage is, like all the reasons he should be proud, he goes into like the Egyptians that built the pyramids and hieroglyphics and how that's really important to history, and that, like he should be proud of who he is because of all the things that his heritage and his culture has accomplished. Machu asks his grandpa, and he says, "Grandpa, can I ask you something else?" Machu asks softly. "What's that, Machu? Do white people have a heritage?" "Yes, they do, little man. All people do." "Then what's their heritage?" asked Matsu. "Well, it depends on where they come from in the world, little man. A lot of white people's ancestors in this country came from Europe, so their heritage is European." What's a European, Grandpa?" That is a whole other story, Grandpa. We'll have to tell you some other day. Don't you worry yourself none, though. We'll have plenty of time to learn about your African heritage and all the others in this world. Let's learn a little more about your own heritage first, and then it'll be easier to learn about all the others." And then this is a picture for that page. Can you see it? There you go. And I chose this page because it kind of shows that even though he's worried about his own heritage and who he is, he should also be aware of who other people are, and he should be aware of what their heritages are and be accepting of them, and it should be across the board for all people. So I think that's just another good idea to be placed in people's heads, that everyone has their own heritage and there's all their values in each of their heritages, and that's what people should see, not just the color of their skin and who they look like. Let's see. My overall impression of the book is I like it. It's very good. It could be used in a history classroom just because it goes into what heritage is, and it goes into kind of ancient African civilizations such as pyramids, hieroglyphics. It goes into the jungles of Africa, and it talks about like drums and that culture and their music. And then I also think it could be used in English class just because if they're learning about similes or metaphors, Machu in the beginning talks about, like, he relates two things that wouldn't necessarily go together. Like, he relates himself being black to objects and bad things that are black. So, like, I could think it could be used as a way to teach students how to relate things that wouldn't necessarily go together. So it's kind of be a tool to teach a skill. And then I would recommend this to someone. I think it could be applied any age, probably above second or third grade. I mean, the story is understandable for someone below third grade, but I don't think they'd understand the overall meaning, like how deep they should take it and like how they could apply it to everyday life. But I think even an adult could learn something from this, just that everyone is valuable in their own way, and that's what we should see, and not just what's on the outside. The thing that I kind of pulled out from when I was reading it was that I know who I am. I know what I know what I'm worth, and I know like what my value is. And it kind of made me realize that not everyone knows who they are and how valuable they are. So I think this book is a good way to. It was a good way to show me that not everyone is as confident or that knows themselves as well as I know myself. So it's just a good reminder that some people do struggle with things that I don't struggle with. And I think that's good as a teacher because we sometimes forget what our students will be going through and even the people around us. So that is Grandpa's Everything Black Bad, and I hope you enjoyed it, Professor Saganik.